Hi everyone, it is me again, Amani. It's been a long time. Um, I want to preface this video by saying it's just me catching up. The quality is not going to be great, but this is a sort of sketchbook tour that goes through my thought process on how I'm going to be moving forward with my art. I kind of lost my way, and these sketchbooks helped me rekindle the reason why I draw in the first place. I think over the years, getting caught up in trying to find work that involves drawing, I lost track of what I wanted my personal projects to be. And so, yeah, I also want to preface this by saying it is Saturday and I live in the city, so there's going to be a lot of sounds that I can't I'm probably not going to be able to edit out. So without further ado, let's start with this one. I love to go to the thrift store, and I got this sketchbook at a Goodwill, and this is actually a, what do you call it? It's a scrapbooking book is what it was sold as, what the packaging said, and I couldn't resist. It has like this white cardboard that I really want to draw on, and I will at some point, but I just wanted something cheap, and to give myself a challenge. I challenged myself to finish this sketchbook in 2 weeks. I did not, but I got through it, quite a bit of it, and it helped me figure out what I really wanted to focus on drawing. So I gave myself some prompts so that I wouldn't ever be able to say that I didn't know what to draw. And I came into it thinking, let me just draw. Make sure I'm in frame there. Yeah, I came into it thinking, like, let me just draw what I know I'm good at, which is portraits. And I started with this one. It had some really good lighting and cast shadows, and but I didn't let myself warm up. I just went into it immediately wanting a perfect image. So I feel like I did a lot of rendering to make up for a lot of mistakes that happened in this, and ended up with some unintentional shading, and I don't know, it was just weird. Then I moved on. This one's better, but I couldn't make up my mind about the color palette. Then I did some, more exploration. I made a more concise decision about the color palette for this, and so there are parts of this that I enjoy. This I actually do like, but it took a while to get here. It looks kind of psychedelic though, but this one ended up being my favorite one because by this point I was thoroughly warmed up, and it's just simple. I realized I like simple color palettes, simple lines. I mean, there are a lot of like intricate lines, but this man's face has a lot of distinct features, so it was easy to block in the shapes. And so I was like, I realized I wanted more of that in my work. So in order to do that, I did some gestures with pen, and these are all 1 minute. I think I used a micron for these, which was a little too difficult to go with the flow, and so with these I switched over to my Pentel brush pen, and it was a lot easier to make quick gestural strokes because I could use the pressure to make different marks to better describe the faces rather than straight lines that are always going to be the same width. Then I gave myself 3 minutes, which was I gave myself 5 minutes for each of these, which was way too much time, and I didn't really know how to go from a 1 minute gesture to like 5 minutes. I didn't know how to like split my time, and so I think it shows, and I had less fun with these. I feel like I was doing a bunch of damage control, but you know, just practicing. Then, hold on, let me move this over. I hope I showed these off properly. Okay, sorry if I'm just going back just in case I missed anything. I'm getting back into the swing of making videos. Actually, yeah, I'm going to stand. That'll make things easier, and you might be able to hear me better. So then these are 10 minutes, and no, that's not tall enough. There we go. Okay. So these are 10-minute ones. Still trying to figure out how to pick out good color palettes. I really like how this one turned out. I feel like this is the type of mood I go for a lot of times. This one's not bad, but I don't like how the palette was applied. I feel like I would have laid down each color differently, given the chance. But again, just feeling kind of like I'm doing art just to do art, which is fine, but I was still feeling like a try hard and not having as much fun as I'd like. And then here I was like, okay, let me just challenge myself. That'll make me feel fulfilled. And so I took a brush pen and did a bunch of hand gestures, and some of them I'm actually pretty happy with. Some of them, you know, just letting myself make mistakes. Then I did a bunch of head practice. These are okay, just warming up, just trying to figure things out. I think by this one I was like thoroughly warmed up, because it even looks like the reference to me, which, yeah, I do like some of these, but I was like, I got on the mark with that one. And then I was like, I probably should draw people in environments, so I found some references, but I don't like the approach I took on these, where you draw one line and the next line you draw is in relation to that previous line. I feel like it kind of, the proportions just got really distorted using that, especially when I got here, and it just kept getting worse. So I was like, let me stop, let me go back to the floating heads. More floating heads. By this point I was really warmed up that I felt I could go back to using pencil, so I used color pencil and didn't feel the need to erase, which was nice. These are gouache. I started I watch a lot of sketchbook artists or sketchbook enthusiasts or artists who keep a lot of sketchbooks, and Sophie is one of them. And she had those timed environment paintings where you spend 1 minute on each color, and so that's what I did, and it was a fun exercise. I think looking back on it now, I actually kind of like them, but it's funny, like looking through the screen, I like how they look, but in person I don't. It's so strange, but it was a good exercise nevertheless. And then I was like, let me challenge myself again and draw cats, something I never do, and I just wasn't ready for it. I was like, I don't need this torment right now. I'm sure if I spent a month on this, I would have felines down pat, but I was like, that's not what I'm trying to get at right now. So then I started to draw this pillow because that's my comfort zone. I'm really good at sighting and measuring and rendering, and a pillow is like the perfect perfect thing to tick all those boxes. But then I was like, you know what, I'm not here to do like a Trump loyal type of render. I'm here to challenge myself, but not in a, I don't know, I was just like still kind of lost. I went back and did some perspective of a woman wearing a cap in different angles, and I allowed myself to mess them up and just draw with pen straight, and however it ended up, it ended up. These are 1 minute, I think, or maybe 30 seconds. I can't remember. They look like 30 seconds. But just not looking at the paper and not picking up the pen. I forgot what those are called, but they're one-liners, and they did help loosen me up, but I'm just like, oh god. These ones I did look at the paper but did not pick up the pen. Again, it's a good exercise. I feel like I learned the importance of choosing what to simplify, and what can be simplified and what is necessary. And I feel like with these, because I could see I just did too much. Except for that, I like this one. Then I wanted to do bigger head studies. These are okay. Then I was like, I should do more full body. And I'm kind of impressed with myself for this, because I usually end up doing like this guy where I lose space on the page to do the full body. And these I got pretty good. By this page I was really warmed up. This is probably one of the better pages, one of the best pages in the book, honestly. I just chose a different color pencil for each, and I wanted to practice drawing expressions, and I think they came out pretty well. In fact, this was the only one where I had to erase because it was giving me a lot of issues, but I like how they came out. And so I was like, let me go bigger again, and I hate it, but it's just a sketchbook. It cost me $2 for this, so it's no biggie. And it's not like I can't draw the reference again at another time. Then I did some full body. I have this idea for some larger paintings and gallery work that I want to do. So I was just testing something out, but I don't really like the outcome, which is important. It's important to know what doesn't work. this was the last thing I drew for the night, I remember. And I love this. This is from a photo that I absolutely love and had been wanting to draw it for some time. And I also want to draw children's books as well, so I was, playing around with how I would simplify my characters for a children's book, and I really like how this turned out. I feel like I really let myself loosen up, and I chose like shapes that I normally wouldn't, and I let things be loose and free and not try to perfect everything, and I think it turned out really well. I went to sleep, and the next day I tried to do the same thing with the next reference, and I ended up a little too close to the original reference. So I kind of lost the vibe I had. Wish I had just pulled an all-nighter, but that's okay. Then I did more references of full bodies, more one-liners, random doodles that didn't really amount to anything, me feeling deflated. And that deflation really got me thinking, like, why do I feel like none of this mattered? Like, it didn't fulfill anything for me. And I realized it's because I went to school for comics and animation, and I want to tell stories, and I haven't written a story for myself to create in quite some time. And so the next day I just wrote, and I came up with a story, and now I never have, it's like I'm never in a position where I don't know what to draw. I know what I need to be working on now. So my story has a lot of technology in it now. It's set in the future, and I just don't have any knowledge of drawing technology. So I got to work on Pinterest, found a bunch of references, and just started drawing different gadgets and pipes and wires, and just getting an idea of the repeating shapes and motifs that are in a lot of these designs. And then I moved to cars, and just let myself be bad. I'm not trying to linger on any one drawing to make it perfect. I really want to get a good idea of the motion, of how my arm should be, how my hand should do all the mark making. So I draw one, it'd be kind of wonky, move on to the next, and that's how I plan to improve quickly and be able to learn from my mistakes and see how far I've come. Then I kind of wanted to get into the character design, and I know this is a thing with a lot of artists, where a lot of artists who are graphic novelists as well and draw comics, is like you want the perfect balance between cartoony and realism. And so I really struggle with that, because I think I want to lean a little more on the side of cartoony, but I've spent most of my life kind of teetering on more on the side of realism. And so I'm trying to figure out how exactly I want to simplify my characters. And so I was looking at a caricature book, a book on how to draw caricatures, and I read it, and I tabbed all of my favorite caricatures, and then I went to Pinterest again and found a bunch of interesting looking people and tried to make a caricature out of them. And I think this guy is my favorite drawing in this whole thing. Like, it turned out so good. Like, it looks so much like, it looks more like him than he actually looks. It's just funny to say, but it just flowed out. Like, no mark was wasted. Like, that's how I want to draw, where like every line informs the drawing. Like, if I were to erase one of these lines, it wouldn't look right. So this is the standard, and I have to figure out how to get there. But I think I'll do more exercises like this. Here's some more. None of them as successful as that old guy. And then I looked up a bunch of 90s black female leads for sitcoms and tried to do caricatures of them, but it just didn't really work for me. I don't know, I wasn't really feeling it. Still trying, feeling not really, it's like the image of her wasn't really clear in my mind. And then I started drawing figure poses with ballpoint. Then I tried to draw some things from life, and kind of half-heartedly, because I'm not very good at that. More poses. And then more recently, I went back and drew these because I wanted to draw people interacting and like practice simplifying shapes and doing loose drawings. And I'll come back to this because I have a lot to say about these. But yeah, you can tell there's like a clear shift in these. And I think by this one, this is the last page I filled, but you can see, like, I feel like I captured the moment, like it's a nice sunny day, she just bought a plant and she's, heading back to her house to, decorate, and she had a good day of shopping. Like, I feel like I actually captured that, and I was very loose, and it's not perfect, obviously, but I'm more concerned with capturing emotion and the moment and interaction. Like these, I feel like it's not perfect. Like, his head is kind of small and his shoulder, and like, whatever, that doesn't matter. Like, I can tell that he's teaching her how to prepare a dish, and she's watching. Like, I want to draw stuff like that looks believable, and I feel like I'm getting closer to that believability, which was my goal. So yeah, just having a cheap sketchbook that I could play in without feeling like I needed to be perfect. Like, I feel like if we compare this first page, it's like, this is such a try hard. And then I get to this page, and then it's like, yeah, we're loosening up, we're coming into ourselves and what we actually want to do. And I actually filled up most of the sketchbook, which I have to pat myself on the back because I have probably like 30 sketchbooks that are not completed, and for the first time in a long time, and I will fill this up easily, but yeah, for the first time in a long time, I've actually come close to finishing a sketchbook, so super happy about that. And that brings me to this one. So this is what I was like working towards, because I was like, I'm not in the practice of drawing anymore, so let me get a cheap sketchbook so that I can get a good sketchbook. And so I got another render crescent sketchbook, which is the no bleed sketchbook, and this is my third one. I had 2 others from when I was a tattoo artist. And so again, I made some goals for myself. I just started this, so there's really not a lot in here. Shout out to one of my friends who got me back a gift from Japan. She got me these cute Studio Ghibli papers, and this one's my favorite one. Little stationery pages. I just love that scene in Kiki's Delivery Service where they go to that baker's house and she has this cup and Gigi's like, oh, that's me. I love that. Okay, anyway, I have like all the things I want to work on drawing, and then the major goals that I have in the sketchbook. And the main one is to know my artistic process. But yeah, first page is a swatch page. Since I could use alcohol markers, I got a lot. This first page I wanted to focus on, or I wanted to just kill a lot of birds with one stone. So practicing lighting on a figure, practicing drawing from imagination, practicing drawing the same character over and over again. Yeah, there's a lot here. This is a test of my main character. She's not gonna look like this, but it was nice to play around with. I'm not gonna not draw this character because I do like it. There's just a lot missing for me, but I did learn a lot doing this kind of exercise. Then I wanted to practice drawing a city from imagination. This is my first attempt, which the perspective is crazy. So I need to, that's why I went and found some references to actually draw from life, so I can get a better idea and sense of perspective. But I had fun doing this, and the more I learn the basics, the more I'll be able to add to the city. Yeah, this is not what it's gonna look like. But yeah, that's another thing. I got a lot of comments about this, I guess because it looks so complete. Maybe, I don't know, but it's like, why not go all out if you're trying to, you know, fully realize an idea? But I got a lot of comments on this, and it's just like, I'm still learning, y'all. Y'all don't have to critique me like like this is the end all be all. Like, I'm still trying to figure it out. So that's another reason why I'm straying away from showing my sketchbooks in real life, because it's kind of a downer. Like, even if I get a compliment sometimes, I'm like, you don't have to say anything. Like, I don't mind you looking, but it's just like, just let it be. It's just a sketchbook. I did a lot of watercolor and gouache portraits in a sketchbook, and this is one of the ones that I really liked and want to reproduce in my comic in a way. Like, I don't know, this may have been around the time that I saw what is that? Alberto Guillermo or something like that. Oh my god, I'm probably butchering his name. But the artist who did that one short animation, or two actually, in Love, Death, and Robots, and did a lot of concept art for Spider-Verse. Like, I got really inspired by his work, and so I think that, coupled with the reference, kind of made a really cool, like, color choice and effect. I like the cube, like the blocked out color choices. I don't know how to explain it, but I like it, and I kind of want that look for my comic. And this is me drawing from imagination, trying to figure out the main characters. And then after writing, I was like, I think I want to base a lot of the inventions and gadgets off of aquatic creatures and things from the ocean. And so I drew some shells just to see what I could take from it. I haven't done anything with it yet. And another character I kind of want to base off of a bat. So there's a lot of things there. Another city street view reference. These are some, oops. So these two I got from an old sketchbook when I used to have like a huge set of Prisma and Copic alcohol markers, and I feel like, oh my god, I used to be like the typical comic artist with the super fine tip inking utensils and the perfect marker renderings and stuff like that, and I would create creatures and yeah, I've lost touch with the old self that I used to be, which is good. I'm gonna like come full circle and have a lot more depth and understanding to add to it. This was another attempt at my main character, but really the outfit here is so good. That's the only thing I'll probably keep. But I feel like I did too much with the face. Like, I want like a simpler face with less detail. Like, I want the clothes to have more detail than the face, you know? So I don't really like that, but these pants I really want. Just playing with the concept. I want this world to have a lot of holograms and, you know, like floating, hovering technologies. A concept for the world. I'm glad I got it down. I mean, it doesn't look good, but I got it down, and it's pretty, oh my god, let that go by. Okay, it's pretty, oh my god, how's it getting louder the farther away he gets? Okay, so it's pretty heavily influenced by the world in Alita, but I have like a different explanation, I think, for why the world is this way, but the concept is pretty similar. It's pretty much the same, like the haves and the have-nots kind of thing. And then I think this is where we leave off. I was following a lot of Kim Jung-gi, because obviously I want to be like him in the sense where I can just draw from memory, and just like see all angles in my head. But I realized I don't need to do that. I mean, it helps. I still am doing those types of drawings where I'm practicing that. But I was trying to draw one of my characters, who's based off a bat. And I was trying to picture her in my head while looking at the reference, and I got a little too into the details with the graphite, and the more detail I added with the pencils, the less clear I saw her. And so this one is beautiful to me. It's so fluid. I just did a quick sketch much like this one, but with her face, and I stopped and I was like, well, let me try to ink it. And the inks are a lot more fluid and less stiff, and I love that. It's like I just need a general guideline to where I'm supposed to place the mark. I don't need to know exactly how the mark should be placed, you know, like I don't need to know exactly where the line is going and, you know, calculate everything perfectly or add shading, because then there's too many lines for me to know where to actually mark. So, and I had that epiphany actually looking through this Aaliyah comic. Let me try to find, but I would find with every chapter there'd be like a random little doodle, and I was like, I mean, this might be concept, just like quick concept art drawings, but I think he probably just scribbles like this, and either he inks it or the inker just knows what to do, like what all these marks excuse me, what all these marks mean, to just go ahead and ink from, because I mean, like, look at how detailed these drawings are when they're inked compared to, like, this is a great example. Look how highly rendered, and I mean, obviously there's a tone on top of this, but you can see like all the blacks and the texture and hatch marks being made. And then this is like one of the drawings that it's based from. So it's like, I think that's what I need. I just need like a quick little drawing, and then I can trust myself to ink what I need to. And I think it allows me to make better line choices. Like I know when to stop when there's fewer lines. So I'm getting closer. I am like having you know, clear masters that you like to follow and draw from is important, because it is teaching me something. And I am writing down every thought about these that I have. Like every day that I sit down and draw, I write what I've learned from that drawing session so I don't forget. And if I ever feel stuck, I'll go to that and read some lessons. then from that, I was like, well, what do I want to ink like, you know? Because there's so many, and this is like a clear, like channeling Mike Mignola with the intense blacks and the, you know, stylized face. And also, this is just a little review of this sketchbook. I've had it so many times, but this is my first time using my pocket Pentel. This one in particular, the refill that I have in here right now is making this pen very juicy. So it pulled on top of this eye, and I waited overnight for this to dry. So it dried, it had like at least 8 hours of drying time. And so I came back to erase and it smudged. And I was like, oh dang. So that's one thing about this paper, and you can still see how, well, I don't know if you can see. My lighting setup might be a little, there we go. You can kind of see how shiny it still is. So this paper, in order to not bleed through to the next side, I think it absorbs less ink. So that's what happened with this. And so I'm still scared to erase this to this day. So then I tried to just ink with the Furonosuke, the Tombow, and for these, and it just feels a lot stiffer. I do like that. I'm happy with this interaction, but I feel like it could have been even more like fluid. Like this one I used the Pentel, and I feel like I really like the lines. I did go back in though with this extra small Faber-Castell for like the little hatches on the inside. But overall, I was like, yeah, I like the fluidity of the Pentel. It is harder to get smaller lines though, so I'm like, maybe I just need to master using it, because the tip is, there we go. The tip is really small. Like, I could get really fine lines if I was a master. But I'm still learning this pen, so the lines are still pretty thick. But yeah, I really enjoy this. So I just need to find a sketchbook that takes inkwell, which is fine. I mean, I mostly got this paper so that I could do like more marker without worrying about it. So, and this is Sharpie, straight up Sharpie. You can't even see through it. So yeah, my overall goal is to be more fluid, and you'll see these tabs. These tabs help me stay on track, because I want to finish this sketchbook in a decent amount of time. So having tabs to like finish by is important for me. But yeah, and then last but not least, these are the sketchbooks I'm more so moving to, because this sketchbook, I still feel some pressure to be perfect and have something beautiful to show, and I really just need to make mistakes, because I'm kind of starting over with my artistic journey in a way. And so this is probably one of the most expensive books. This cost almost the same as this, and it's so cheap, but it's because I in, I think 2021, I also wanted to like jumpstart my drawing again with a small sketchbook, and I also wanted to be a part of the Brooklyn art library, or yeah, the Brooklyn art, no, the Brooklyn Sketchbook Project, which is a library of sketchbooks. So you buy the sketchbook, they mail it to you, you have a time limit to finish it in order to be included in that that catalog for the year. But it's not a year, it's like you have like a set amount of time to finish it. And this was the volume 18, and it was too much pressure for someone who hadn't been drawing every day to just finish a sketchbook in whatever amount of time it was. But I finally went back to it. Well, this is what I did in it in the beginning. Yeah, it was 2021. And I was like, oh, I'll do like some portraits or whatever. This is the only one that I kind of finished. Yeah, the rest, yeah, I had like, I don't know, like I was using like, I was making symbolic, like this was gonna be a water baby. This is like a volcanic woman. This is a sun man. I don't know. But yeah, and then I picked it back up and I was like, let me just, you know, I thought it was Kim Jong-gi, and I was like, I can just imagine what it is I want to draw and just start drawing it. And I was like, I cannot imagine anything in my head, so I just have to like put my pen down and trust that it'll be what I wanted, and it just wasn't. And I was like, I need to practice actually visualizing what it is I want to draw, because I don't clearly see the things that I imagine in my head. And I used to be able to see them so clearly, so I'm not really sure what happened with that. So from there, I just decided to practice, just like Kim Jong-gi, just practice drawing what I saw, like just sitting down. And I actually like this one. Like, I made so many mistakes, but overall it kind of is pretty accurate. I kind of got the bend of the couch, and that struggle. And then my coffee table is shaped like an S, so that's a nightmare. But I struggle with the bending and perspective because, but I think I'm starting to see it in my mind's eye when something bends, because of course I think my mind is like correcting the bend when I look at it in person. And of course, when I see the couch and look at it, I want to draw a straight line and draw it as if I'm like an aerial view looking down at it. But I was like, that's not what's happening when I'm looking. So I think I'm starting to see it. But this is me just like changing my position and trying to draw my living room. Change my position again. But you know, I'm allowing myself to kind of like mess up. This is my desk. I did not like how the highlighter was looking, so I just stopped. I feel like it kind of ruined this one with the highlighter. And then I did that like Kim Jong-gi like spit thing, and I was like, ooh, that does work a lot better. So I was like, let me not start eating ink. Mess up. I was getting my oil changed, and I flipped to a different page to draw that. But yeah, yeah, I would start a lot and then either have to go or, yeah, I think these two I had to go. My boyfriend had a call, like a Zoom meeting, so I sat with him, and this one did not, actually it's not that much different than the original, but I think I just wasn't trusting the process on this one. But this one I did. This one I just forced myself to just finish it, and this is the most successful one. And I did the spit thing. That's why it looks so, like, it's better rendered, like you can kind of see the depth I'm going for. But in the future I'm just gonna find a water soluble marker, like a thick one, and just keep that on me. This one, I feel like I messed up the perspective on this. Like, it was too big and too aerial, like looking straight down. And so once I added the perspective to the actual sketchbook, it was easier to like start bending. Like, I am starting to understand the vanishing point of everything. But, you know, I'm still learning. Yeah, that was my first mess up. And then this was me getting my oil change, but the steering wheel is way too small. So I tried again, and this one's much better, but by the time I was really starting to get into it, it was my turn to pull up. I went super early in the morning so I wouldn't have to wait long in line. But yeah, this is the last one, and I'm okay with it because it's like my first drawing in the morning. This was like at 9 a.m. and I think it looks okay. So I want to continue doing drawings like this. Like, I know I'll get better the more I do them, and I'm not too terribly far off. Like, I think once I start learning to see the vanishing points in my head, it'll be good. But anyway, the bag that my friend gifted me, this was the bag it came in. It cannot talk. I'm like so tired still. But I used the paper that I did these in, because I liked how they were with the marker, but they bled really easily. So I was like, I like the paper, but it's in a spiral bound, and I really don't like that. So I decided to stitch together, oh my god, what is that? But yeah, I decided to stitch together a sketchbook that I can be free in, and I used the bag as a cover, just glued it on, and then I used washi tape to reinforce the binding. And yeah, this will be my low stakes, cheap little sketchbook. But I am in the market to buy some more like this because I can't keep making them. This was a headache. Oh god, no. Thanks for watching. The next video will probably be me trying to draw at my desk, like drawing what I see. Yeah. All right. Bye for now.